All right, so today we're diving into something pretty fascinating. It's this idea of faith as a tool for success, all laid out by Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich.
Oh, yeah.
And you specifically wanted to explore chapter 3, faith, visualization of and belief in attainment of desire. So that's exactly where we'll focus.
Sounds good.
We've got this YouTube video excerpt you shared, and I'm really curious to see how Hill's ideas can be applied to, your journey.
Well, one thing I find intriguing right off the bat is how Hill immediately connects faith to our mental processes. He calls it the head chemist of the mind. It's like he's saying faith isn't some passive belief, but like an active force that's actually shaping our reality.
Yeah, that's what caught my eye too. It almost sounds like he's given us like a recipe for success.
Yeah.
But how does this head chemist, how does it actually work?
Well, Hill's drawn a parallel between faith and the power of the subconscious mind. He's suggesting that the subconscious takes our thoughts, especially those amplified by strong emotions. It kind of translates them into tangible outcomes.
So it's not about wishful thinking, but understand how our thoughts can actually influence our reality.
Precisely.
Okay.
Hill provides a framework for harnessing this power. And it gets even more intriguing when he brings emotions into the mix, particularly faith, love, and sex.
Yeah, that definitely caught me off guard too. What's the connection Hill's making between these emotions and achieving success?
Well, Hill describes these emotions as powerful vibrational energies that make our thoughts more real to our subconscious. He even suggests that they can create a direct link between our conscious minds and what he calls infinite intelligence, a universal source of wisdom and power.
Okay, so it's not just about feeling good. It's about tapping into something much larger than ourselves. But how do we actually cultivate faith? Hill says it's a state of mind which may be induced or created, which almost sounds like a superpower.
Right. Well, that's where autosuggestion comes in. Hill argues that by repeatedly affirming our desires to our subconscious, we can actually convince it that those desires are already a reality, ultimately leading to tangible results.
So if we want to achieve something, we need to start by believing it's possible, even if it seems far-fetched at the moment.
Exactly. Imagine trying to describe the color red to someone blind since birth. It's impossible for them to truly grasp it without the experience of seeing it. Hill uses this analogy to show how faith is something we need to experience, to feel, not just understand intellectually.
I remember that analogy, but it's still pretty mind-boggling to me. How can we create that experience of faith if it doesn't come naturally?
Well, Hill points out that even criminals, initially repelled by crime, can become desensitized through repeated exposure. He suggests we can similarly train our minds towards faith by consistently exposing ourselves to its principles and examples.
So it's about conditioning our minds, just like developing any other skill or habit.
That's the idea. But here's where it gets crucial. Hill also throws in a powerful warning. He claims that the subconscious doesn't distinguish between positive and negative thoughts. It treats them equally.
Oh yeah, you're right. He even went as far as to say that suggestive suicide is possible. Are our thoughts really that powerful?
It's a chilling thought, but Hill backs it up with the story of Joseph Grant, a bank official who, consumed by guilt after embezzling funds, essentially willed himself to death through constant negative self-talk.
Wow, that's intense. So dwelling on our fears and negative self-talk can have a real impact on our well-being.
Absolutely. Modern research on the placebo and nocebo effects support this idea. Our beliefs, whether positive or negative, can significantly influence our physical and mental health. Hill's point is that being mindful of our thoughts and actively cultivating faith are crucial for achieving success.
Okay, so we're not just talking about positive thinking, but understanding the profound power our beliefs have over our lives. But Hill also uses the example of Mahatma Gandhi, who obviously didn't amass material wealth. So how did his story fit into this framework of faith leading to success?
Well, Gandhi's success wasn't about financial wealth, but about influence and social change. Hill uses Gandhi's example to illustrate how faith applied with unwavering conviction can mobilize millions, even without traditional power structures.
So even if our goals aren't about building a fortune, faith can still be a powerful driver for achieving what we set out to do.
Precisely. And to bring it back to the realm of business and financial success, Hill shares the fascinating story of Charles M. Schwab and the creation of U.S. Steel.
Okay, I'm all ears. How did Schwab use faith to build a steel empire?
Well, Schwab had this ambitious vision for U.S. Steel, which seemed impossible at the time. But his unwavering faith in this vision, it was so strong that he managed to convince J.P. Morgan, a titan of finance, to back him.
So it wasn't just about having a good idea, it was Schwab's belief in it. That drew in the resources and support he needed.
Exactly. Think about it. Schwab's initial idea, fueled by faith and persistent action, created massive wealth, not just for himself, but for countless others. His belief was contagious, and it inspired others to buy into his vision.
That's incredible. It really shows how faith can act as a catalyst, even in the cutthroat world of business. But let's dig a bit deeper. Hill mentions a dinner at the University Club, where Schwab captivated Morgan and other financial heavyweights. What was so special about Schwab's approach? That won them over.
Well, Hill doesn't give us the specifics of the speech, but he emphasizes that Schwab presented a clear and compelling vision for the future of steel. He didn't just focus on profits. He talked about innovation, expansion, and capturing the global market. He painted a picture of something much bigger than just another business venture.
So he appealed to their ambition and desire for legacy, not just their wallets.
Precisely. And remember, this was at a time when trusts and monopolies were viewed with suspicion. Schwab cleverly reframed the narrative. He argued that a larger, more efficient steel industry would actually benefit society by making steel more affordable and accessible.
That's a brilliant strategy.
Yeah.
He turned a potential negative into a positive, appealing both their business sense and their desire to leave a positive mark on the world. It seems like we're seeing a pattern here, the power of belief to influence not just our own actions, but the actions of others as well.
Absolutely. Think about it. Schwab had this idea, this vision that existed only in his mind. But through his unwavering faith and his ability to articulate that vision, he convinced others to invest their time, energy, and resources to make it a reality. It's a perfect example of the power of faith in action.
It's like a chain reaction, where one person's belief can spark the beliefs of others, creating a force strong enough to achieve incredible things.
Yeah.
But let's be realistic, not everyone is going to build a billion-dollar steel empire. So how can we apply these principles to our own lives?
Yeah.
To our everyday goals and aspirations?
That's the key question, isn't it? And Hill doesn't leave us hanging. He offers practical tools for harnessing the power of faith. Remember the principle of autosuggestion we talked about earlier. It's about consistently feeding your subconscious mind with positive affirmations until it accepts them as truth.
So if we want to achieve something, we need to start by believing it's possible, even if it seems out of reach right now, and then reinforce that belief through our thoughts and actions.
Exactly. It's like planting a seed and nurturing it with sunlight and water. You have to tend to your faith, cultivate it, and protect it from the weeds of doubt and fear. Hill emphasizes that faith without action is like a seed without soil. It has potential, but needs the right environment to grow. Schwab's faith provided the fuel, but his actions, planning, persistence, and leadership were the engine that drove his success.
That makes a lot of sense, but Hill also cautions us about the dangers of negative thoughts and beliefs, even going as far as to say suggestive suicide is possible. How do we avoid falling into that trap?
It's a stark reminder of the power of our minds. But here's the good news. Just as we can train our minds towards faith, we can also train them to reject negative thoughts and beliefs. It's a conscious choice we make every single day.
So it's about being aware of our thought patterns and actively choosing to focus on the positive. Those thoughts that empower us rather than limit us. It's like we're programming our own subconscious minds, either for success or for failure, which is a pretty big responsibility.
It is a big responsibility,
Yeah.
but it's also incredibly empowering. We have the ability to choose what we feed our minds, what we believe, and ultimately what we create in our lives. Remember Hill's point, the subconscious doesn't differentiate between positive and negative thoughts. It treats them all the same if you're constantly feeding it doubts.
Fears and limiting beliefs. Guess what? It's going to manifest those in your reality.
Okay, I'm really seeing how crucial it is to cultivate positive beliefs. But Hill also talked about faith being more than just an intellectual exercise. He stressed the importance of emotion. So how do we tap into that emotional energy and connect it to our faith? Well, Hill believed that faith needs to be felt, embraced with passion and conviction. That's what gives it the power to transform our thoughts into reality. It's not enough to just think about your goals. You need to feel them deep within you. To truly believe in their possibility, it's important to remember that Hill saw faith as one element. Within a larger formula for success. He outlined 13 principles in total, each building upon the other, to create a powerful roadmap.
So it's like faith is a key ingredient, but you need the other elements in the recipe to really make something amazing.
Exactly. He talks about the need for a burning desire. A definite purpose that fuels your actions. There's also the importance of specialized knowledge, organized planning,
Yeah.
and persistent action.
All playing crucial roles in achieving success.
Sound like a holistic approach where you align your thoughts, beliefs, and actions towards a common goal. But there's this concept Hill keeps mentioning that I'm still trying to wrap my head around: infinite intelligence. It sounds almost mystical. How does that fit into all of this? It does have a mystical feel, but Hill explains it in a way that makes sense. He believed there's a universal power, a source of limitless wisdom and creativity that we can all tap into.
So it's like a universal network of unlimited potential
Yeah,
that we can connect to.
that's a fantastic analogy. And Hill believed that faith is the key. That unlocks that connection. It's through faith that we open ourselves to guidance, inspiration, and the resources we need to achieve our goals.
Now I'm starting to see the bigger picture. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about aligning ourselves with a force that supports our growth and evolution. But this all sounds great in theory. How do we actually develop that kind of unwavering faith? Especially when we're facing challenges and setbacks. It's easy to believe when things are going well. But what about when the going gets tough?
That's where the real work begins. Hill emphasizes the need to train our minds, just like we train our bodies. We need to build mental discipline, to consciously choose thoughts that empower us, rather than hold us back. It's about cultivating a mental space where faith can flourish, even amidst difficulties.
So it's about forming new habits, new ways of thinking and seeing the world, and having the discipline to stick with it, even when doubts creep in.
You got it. And just like building physical strength takes time and consistent effort, building mental resilience and faith requires ongoing practice. It's a process of consistently choosing faith over fear.
It sounds like we need to be patient with ourselves and trust the process, knowing that we're not going to develop unwavering faith overnight.
Absolutely. And remember, Hill's principles aren't just theories. They've been proven effective by countless successful people throughout history. He studied the lives of individuals like Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and Alexander Graham Bell, and found that faith was a common thread in their journeys.
That's really inspiring. It shows that we all have the potential to tap into this power. But let's bring it back to you, the listener. What's the one key takeaway? The one action you can take today to start cultivating more faith in your own life?
Well, Hill beautifully summarizes this in his statement. Riches begin in the form of thought. I encourage you to pinpoint one area in your life where you crave positive change. Start by visualizing the outcome you desire, feeling it as if it were already real. Let that vision fuel your actions, and let your faith be your compass.
That's a powerful call to action. Remember, even small steps taken with faith can yield remarkable results. So start small, dream big, and never underestimate the incredible power within you to create the life you truly desire. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the power of faith. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep believing in